helicopter. So I hope you remember in the last lecture we have seen about the historical aspects. So here we will be seeing controls as well as the basic aspects of helicopter. Okay, right? So let's move to the session. So the reference I have taken is from Federal Aviation Administration FAA Helicopter Flying Handbook. So this is used for educational purpose only. So before entering into the controls, I need to give what are the major applications for which helicopters are used, right? So many of you know that for commercial purpose we are using, as well as military purpose, that is passenger as well as military, we are using helicopters, right? That everyone knows. So apart from that, for search and rescue during floods, during a national disasters, right? For search and rescue, helicopters are used, and helicopters are used as well as air taxi as well as air ambulance and firefighting. So if you see this Icarus helicopter, right? So it is carrying a back-like structure, so to collect water and drop at the site of fire. Okay. So as well as it is used for construction. So in Himalayas, most of the Himalayan towers, right, as well as some buildings were constructed using the helicopter, which is called as air crane. Okay, so which is called as air crane. So it is used to lift, as like it will be acting like a crane itself. Okay, so you might have seen during constructions of buildings, right? So there will be crane. So like that, the helicopters are also used for carry as a air crane, and so these are the applications. So 5 applications are there: search and rescue, ambulance, passenger and military, firefighting, and construction. Okay, so now let's go to the rotor system types. So in the previous lecture also I have given in the historical facts. So I have given about the tandem rotor, right? Like Chinook, right? So we are having main rotor as well as tail rotor. Okay. So one will be rotating in the clockwise, another will be rotating in the counterclockwise to maintain the stability of the vehicle. Okay. So coaxial rotor. So coaxial rotor is nothing but in the same shaft, right? So same shaft itself, two blades will be there, two systems will be there, right? So one will be rotating in the clockwise, another one will be rotating in the anti-clockwise, so that it will be maintaining the stability. So the third one, sometimes they will be calling it as V-type engine mounted. Otherwise, they will be naming it as intermeshing rotors. Okay, so the rotor systems basically the classic rotor system is also there. That is, classic rotor system means the helicopter with main rotor and tail rotor. Okay, so the ordinary helicopter which we are seeing, right? So apart from that, we are having this type of tandem, coaxial, and intermeshing rotor also. Okay, so this rotor system, each and every helicopter is having its own advantage as well as disadvantage depending upon the purpose they are used. So you can see here the coaxial rotor, right? Heli Swiss. So it is used for medical purpose. Okay, so this type of coaxial rotor system has been used for medical as well as air ambulance. This will be used. So depending upon applications, the advantage and disadvantage of rotor system will be decided. Okay, so that intermeshing rotors nowadays they are using in the air crane also, as I shown for construction they are using. So the intermeshing rotors are used for the airplane. So the rotor blades are designed in a such a way, either in the tandem or in intermeshing, it won't collide with each other. Okay, at any cost, due to the rotational speed, right? RPM as well as the distance, right? The distance. So here also it will be aligned in a such a way that it won't collide each other. Okay, there won't be any possible of colliding each other. Okay, so it was designed in such a way, right? So these are the rotor systems. So next, one second. Yes. So what are the components in the rotor system? So first one is hub. So hub is there, mast is there, and rotor blades. So everyone knows rotor blades. So I don't need to explain about that. So hub is, you might have seen in our Cessna also, right? I'm just drawing roughly the Cessna model, right? The nose section. So our nose section will be having a shape like that, where our propeller is attached. I'm sorry, I am poor in drawing the diagrams. So if this is our nose section, so this is our propeller, right? So here we will be calling this as hub. Okay. So the same where our rotor blades are connected, right? So the rotor blades are connected at the single portion that is called as hub. Okay. So there is another term, important term is called mast. So mast is a hollow cylindrical metal shaft. Okay. So this is used to power transmission. Okay. So it's driven by the transmission. Okay. So mast is nothing but it is a shaft. Usually it is a hollow cylindrical metal shaft, and hub is where the rotors where the rotor blades are attached to a point which is called as hub. Okay, so it is not only for rotor blades. If you see in our home, right, we are having fan, right? So fan is having a mast. Our fans will be having a mast, and it will be also having a hub where the blades will be connected in the hub. Okay, so fan is also one of the example, and turbine blades, right? Wind turbine blades, right? So that is also one of the example, right? Wind turbine blades. So apart from that, wherever the blades are connected with the central point, that particular point will be called as hub. Okay, so the shaft will be called with respect to mast. Okay, right. So in the next slide, so the main rotor, I have just explained some factors. While taking other lectures, I will be explaining more about in detail. Apart from that, the rotor system of helicopter, right? So the rotor system of helicopter, especially the tail rotor. So this is the classic tail rotor which is given in the diagram, right? It is a classic tail rotor we have given in the diagram. So first one is a tail rotor drive shaft located inside the tail body, right? So I will be showing, I am sharing my video also. Kindly look into the video. I am having the helicopter model, so you can able to understand clearly. So I hope you can see the see my video. So if you're not able to see, kindly look. I can share it separately. Can you able to see the video? You can use the hand raise your hand so that I can in. Okay, okay, dear. Okay, many of you have that. Right. So the main shaft is here. It is located over here. The main shaft and the tail shaft. Right. Tail rotor is here. Main rotor is here. But shaft is aligned in this line. Okay, that is our mast. Okay. So the power engine will be placed in this place only. Engine is placed has been placed here only. So the power has to be transmitted to our tail rotor. Okay. So throughout the body of the fuselage, right? So a tail rotor drive shaft will be placed. Okay. So that's what in the image it is mentioned. A tail rotor drive shaft located inside the tail body. Okay. So inside the tail body, a drive shaft will be there, and yes, there will be a gearbox, okay, to provide from main transmission, right? So a gearbox is mounted, right? So in order to give the perfect power transmission. Okay, so tail rotors, yes, the same, it will be having a hub. The blades will be connected to the hub only. Okay, so apart from that, one of the important term is pitch change links. So pitch change link is nothing but where we can say if you want to change the pitch of the tail rotor, right? So we will be seeing about how the pilot will change the pitch of tail rotor and pitch of the entire blade. I will explain in further slides. But just now you just understand with this link, right? There is a linkage. I will delete the markings so you can see clearly. So you see the picture. So in the cross head, right? In the cross head, so this is the upper layer which is extended, right? Metal upper layer to make the available pitch change links. Okay. So this link, right? So this link is used to change the pitch of the tail. Okay. So this is our tail rotor. So in order to change the pitch, suppose cross section is airfoil, right? Tail rotor's cross section is airfoil shape, right? So in order to provide a change in pitch up and pitch down, so these links will be used. Okay, either to pitch up or pitch down. Okay, so this pitch change link will be used. I will explain how the pilot will control that pitch in the later slide. Okay. Right. So there are 4 types of control systems available in helicopter. So control system means like our aircraft, we are having we can say movement control, right? So pitch up control, pitch down control, as well as yaw movement control, right? So how we are going to control the pitch up and pitch down? Yes, Madan Modi, I will explain about more about pitch because the entire lecture is with respect also. I will explain. Okay. So we are having 4 types of control here. So first one is cyclic pitch control, second one is collective pitch control, third one is throttle control, and fourth one is anti-torque pedals. Okay. So the control system is entirely different from aircraft, right? So we will be seeing how the helicopter will be controlled using these 4 types of control system. So all the control systems will be controls will be located in the pilot's cockpit itself. Okay. Cockpit itself, the control system will be located. Okay, so we will watch that in detail. Right. So first one is cyclic pitch control. So I have given. So cyclic pitch control. So this type of control will be located in the pilot's cockpit. Okay. So let's say if the pilot cockpit is here, right? So the control stick, like our aircraft is, we have a joystick, right? Control joystick. So the similar manner, it will be having a joystick in the pilot's cockpit. Okay. So using that, we can control the forward, upward, forward, backward, and downward motion of the helicopter. Okay. That means we can using that cyclic, right? So mostly we can control the forward, backward, and sidewards. Okay. So the cyclic will not be much useful during takeoff and landing. It will be useful for forward, backward, right, and left. Okay, to move the helicopter in 4 directions. Okay, so for that, cyclic pitch control will be used. Okay, so I have to explain what is this swash plate. So the swash plate is nothing but, one second. Swash plate is nothing but if we use the cyclic control, right? So to move forward or to move backward or to move left or right? So when the pushing that forward, right? When the pilot is pushing that joystick forward, so what will happen to the helicopter rotor blades? The rotor blades will be, if this is the rotor blade, right? It will be deflecting like this, right? So kindly look into the video so that you can easily understand that. Suppose this is our helicopter position, right? We want to move forward, right? So what pilot will be doing is he will be pushing that control stick, right, away from him. Okay, he will be pushing forward. So what will happen to this entire rotor system? It will be deflected downwards. Okay, like in the forward motion. Okay, so it will be deflected. So I will be drawing the diagram so that you can understand. further. So if this is the rotor system initially, right? So with the shaft, so this is the rotor system. So when the pilot wants to move forward, so he will be using this joystick, he will be pushing that forward. So what will happen? This rotor will be deflected in the new direction. Okay, so I have drawn wrongly. So initially, this is shaft from power shaft. This is our rotor blades. Okay. So when pilot has pushed this lever forward, there is cyclic control, right? So our blades, right? So our blades will be tilting in this manner. Okay. So our blades will be tilted. Okay. So for tilting this blade, these Schwarz plates are playing the major role. Okay. So I will show you a video also so that you can easily understand what the Schwarz plate is playing a major role. So in order to tilt the rotor, main rotor blades, every rotor blades, so we need to have a system that is the mechanical Schwarz plate system. Okay, right. So if you have any doubts, I will explain at the end of the session. So we have to cover lot of things. Okay. So the secondary one is throttle control. So throttle control will be done and it will be available with near to the seat. If this is the pilot seat, right? So this is the pilot seat. So there will be a control system that is called a cyclic control. Collective control. Sorry. So this control stick is totally called as collective control stick. Okay. So at the end of the collective control stick, there will be a twist grip. Okay, like our bike accelerator, right? So there will be a twist grip throttle will be available. Okay, so the entire stick will be called as collective control stick or collective control rod. It depends upon how the pilot is representing. Sometimes they will use the term system also, collective control system. Okay, so at the end of the collective control pitch, collective control rod, there will be a like our accelerator, there will be a twist grip throttle will be available. So this throttle will be used to increase the RPM, engine RPM, or if we are changing the engine RPM, the corresponding the rotor blade speed will be also changing corresponding. Okay, so this is by how the pilot will be changing the speed and rotational speed of the blades. Okay, so the throttle will be controlled in with the twist grip throttle, which is available in the collective control itself. Okay, right. So there is a comparison between RPM, manifold pressure, and collective and throttle. So just look into the screen once again clearly so that you can able to understand what I am trying to say is. So what is manifold? First of all, manifold pressure is nothing but inlet pressure of the engine. Inlet pressure in the engine. Engine inlet pressure. Okay, right? So when the RPM is low and the engine inlet pressure, that is manifold pressure, is low, so what the pilot has to do, he has to increase the throttle, so that if he is increasing the throttle, right, it's like our accelerator, so if he is increasing the throttle in the collective pitch control, right, so the manifold pressure will be also increasing and the RPM will be also increasing. Okay, so the second condition is if RPM is low and manifold pressure is high. Okay, so when manifold pressure is high, so lowering the pitch collective decreases the manifold pressure and increases the RPM. Okay, so another time I have to explain about the collective pitch control. So let's get back to the previous slide once, right? So I have another slide also so that I will be explaining more about collective pitch control so that it will be easily understandable. Yes, here it is. Okay, so this is the collective pitch control. You can see over here, collective pitch throttle. Okay, So what the pilot is doing, he is lifting the collective pitch control and lowering the collective pitch control. In the upper surface, he is lowering the collective pitch control. In the second image, right, in the lower image, he is raising the collective pitch control. Okay. So what it is happening? So when he raises the collective pitch control upwards, right? So the pitch of the each blade is changing. Can you able to see? Each blade pitch angle will be changing. Okay. So when each blade's pitch angle is changing, what happens? Rising the collective pitch control increases the pitch angle by same amount on all blades. So one of the thing you have to understand, so if the pilot is trying to change the pitch angle of one blade, it is not possible. So whenever he is changing the pitch angle, so it will be affecting the all the four blades. If it is 4 or 3 or 2 rotor system. Okay, so it depends upon how much number of blades. So the all the blades will be the pitch angle will be changed at the same angle. Okay, so there won't be variation. So what will happen? The helicopter will be start to lift. Okay, so when he is lowering the control lever, right? So opposite pitch angle will be there. So let's say this is a positive pitch angle. So this will be negative pitch angle, right? So lowering the collective control decreases the pitch angle so that we can come down, descend. So up, take off, descent, that is to land, we will be lowering the pitch control. Okay, collective pitch control. So don't get confused with cyclic and collective pitch control. Just used to for forward, backward, right, and left and right. Okay. Whereas collective pitch control, that is near to the pilot seat, right? So that is used for takeoff and landing. Otherwise, climb or descent. Okay. So from one altitude to another altitude, if the pilot want to switch, he can use the collective pitch control accordingly. Okay. So now let's get back to the table column again so that you can understand that clearly. Right. Sorry. Okay. So let's read about that second RPM, right? So when RPM is low and your manifold pressure is high, right? So in order to make a good performance, that is efficiency, right? In order to maintain the efficiency, so one of the solution is the pilot has to lower the collective pitch control and decrease the manifold pressure. So what he has to do is, so in this diagram, he has to lower the collective pitch control. So the pitch angle will be also decreasing, right? So what will happen? So the RPM will be also increased and the manifold pressure will be decreased. Okay. So these are the solutions which they are giving for particular scenarios. If RPM is low and manifold pressure is low. So when RPM is high, when the rotational speed is high, but the manifold pressure, required pressure is less, right? Then we have to increase the collective pitch angle. That is, pitch angle should be increased by raising the collective pitch control. So the manifold pressure will be increased more and RAM, that is RPM, will be decreased. Okay. So when both RPM as well as the manifold pressure is higher, then we have to reduce the throttle, right? So in the first we have given when both are low, in order to provide thrust, right? So we have to increase the throttle. So when both are high, right, we have to reduce the throttle in order to get the efficiency. Okay, better efficiency, right? Right. So this is a cyclic pitch control, which will be located in front of the seat and in between, if this is a single pilot, right? So this is like when they want to have a trainee also. Okay. So depending upon the variation of control sticks, right? So it may be varying. The location of placement will be also varying accordingly. Okay. Right. So I hope with this you can understand how the pilot will be controlling. So the forward, In order to go forward, he has to push here. In order to go backward, in order to go left, in order to go right. Okay. So right and left, I am indicating that it is with respect to banking. It is not with respect to turn or bank. Okay. So it is not like yaw movement. Just the helicopter, to make the helicopter like can you look into the video once, to make the helicopter like this, right? This is our yaw movement. So this cyclic pitch control is not going to help for this type of yaw movement. This cyclic pitch control will provide you banking movement. Okay. So I hope you understood that, right? So by using that left or right, you should not think like the helicopter will move like this. Okay. So the helicopter will be moving like this, like banking. Okay. So forward flight. So the helicopter will be like, it will be moving like this. For backward flight, the helicopter will be moving like this. Okay. So I hope you understood that clearly. So don't think like for forward flight, the rotor will be deflected, right? So it will be a small amount of tilting will be there, so that the rotor will be deflected and the helicopter will be moving forward and backward accordingly. Okay. Right. So I'm going to the next slide. So I hope you understood the three control systems. So if you have any queries, we will be discussing about at the end of the session, right? So I have nearly 11 more slides to complete. So the final is anti-torque pedals, or sometimes we can say it as directional pedal. Okay. So anti-torque pedal or directional pedal. It is similar like our rudder pedals, but here it will be controlling the tail rotor. Okay. So in aircraft, right? Okay, now it is scribbling like that. Okay. Okay. So the rudder pedals are there, right? In helicopter, we will be saying that anti-torque pedal or directional pedal. Okay, sometimes they will be using the directional pedals. Okay, so here you want to understand how the pilot is going to control the torsional movement as well as the direction. Okay, so let's see how he is going to control. One second, kindly. So let's see how the pedals are going to behave in this, right? So I will show in the next slide. So let's if the pilot wants to turn, right, that is yaw movement. If he want to perform the yaw movement, not banking. So for banking, he will be using the cyclic pitch control in order to change the direction during hovering. So everyone knows hovering, right? So it will be like the helicopter will be having its main rotor, the rotational rotor will be there, but it will be stable. Okay, it will be flying at one position. It won't be having any pitch rise or pitch. There won't be any climb. There won't be any descent. So it will be just hovering with the like thrust is equal to weight. Okay, so here the thrust force will be acting upward when it is climbing. Okay, so it will be making thrust is equal to weight, so that the hovering condition will be satisfied. So how the pilot will be controlling that direction? Suppose I'm hovering here. I hope you can see the video, right? So if I am hovering here, then I want to turn, right? I want to use the direction. Then I will be moving forward. Okay. So what the pilot will be doing is he will be controlling with respect to the anti-torque pedals. Okay. So let's see how it will be working. First image which you are seeing, right? So the right pedal was pressed. Okay. So the right pedal is pressed in this first image. So what happened to the position of the helicopter? It is turned towards the right side. So it might be mirrored image in the video. So kindly understood in such a way that when the pilot is pressing the right pedal, right, the helicopter will move towards the right side. Okay. So how it is moving towards the right side? So as I told, the pedals is used to control the tail rotor, right? So if you are pressing the right pedal, sorry, my stylus is having some problem. So I will try to rectify in the next lecture. So that's why it is scribbling automatically. Okay. So kindly look into this image clearly. So when I am pressing the right pedal, so what happened to the anti-torque rotor, that is our tail rotor, it will be providing a thrust. Okay, so it will be providing a thrust so that the rotor will be moving like this, and the nose section, the nose of the helicopter will be turned towards the right side. So when it is maintained neutrally, then the direction will be neutral. Okay, so when the pedals are not pressed, so the direction will be always forward faced. So when the left pedal is pressed, then the thrust will be produced, right, and the nose section will be turned towards the left side. Okay, so this is what happens when the helicopter like anti-torque pedals are pressed, and the direction can be controlled accordingly. Okay, so I hope you understood that. So remaining slides, since we are having 15 minutes, I have to those factors. Four forces acting on the helicopter in the forward flight. Please note it down. I have mentioned it is clearly in the forward flight, not in the climb or descent. Okay, so that's why I have mentioned thrust is in the forward position, lift is acting upward, drag is acting behind, and weight is acting down. So in that case of my lift and my thrust will be acting in the same direction, upward direction. Okay, so kindly note down. Here I have mentioned it is forward flight. Okay, so everyone knows thrust, weight, and lift. So I'm not explaining about that. So I'm just moving on to other basic aerodynamic parts. So hub I have already told. Tip, everyone knows the rotor tip, right? The rotor tip is having various types of shapes. Okay, so we will be discussing about the rotor tip shapes at aerodynamic design chapter. Okay, so far you know about tip and you know about the root also. So root is always connected with the hub of the helicopter rotor system, and twist. So twist is nothing but the change in blade incidence from root to outer blade. So outer blade is tip, root to tip, how the twist is changed. So if you see this image, how the blade twist has been done. So we have used various types of incidence angle. Let's say if I am drawing a reference line, right? Just I am drawing a reference line and I am marking it as theta I. Okay, just I am giving for example theta I. Okay, so if I am using the theta I as incidence angle, so the incidence angle in the A section will be different, and B section will be different, and C section will be different. Like how we have did in aircraft. So wing incidence and tail incidence, right? So in order to make the helicopter blade twist, right? So the section wise, the incidence angle will be changed so that the helicopter will be having the twisting angle in its blade. Okay, so twist is having a performance. So while we are studying about performance and analysis, we will be discussing about how the twist is going to give the performance parameters. Okay, so you need to understand one concept, that is relative wind. So there are two types of relative wind. That is, one is a rotational relative wind. So since I will try with my rotational, and another one is resultant. Okay, so rotational is nothing but it is simply, we can call it as relative wind. Okay, so what is relative wind? It is represented with respect to the airfoil direction. So let's say if the helicopter blade is rotating, right? So if the helicopter blade is rotating, right? So the cross section of the blade is airfoil, that everyone will be under, right? So this is how the helicopter blade is rotating. Kindly look into the video, right? So just consider the airfoil section is here, right? So when it is moving in the air, so this is the airfoil direction, how the airfoil is moving. Okay, right? So here we are considering that relative wind is exactly opposite to the airfoil direction. In the aircraft, we will be studying, right, the flight path. If this is the flight path, the opposite is called as relative wind. We will be taking it as V infinity. The same manner in a helicopter blade, the airfoil direction, rotation of airfoil direction, the opposite will be given with respect to the relative wind. Okay. So the second one is if the, that's why we have given three cases how to identify the helicopter, basic helicopter relative wind direction. So if the angle is changing but the helicopter is moving in different direction, let's say, see this is the rotor blade, right? So if I am pitching down, so initially my rotor blade is like this, so now I have pitched down, right? So now my blade is rotating, right? Now my blade is rotating, so my airfoil direction will be changed, so accordingly my relative wind direction will be also changed. So wherever my airfoil direction is changing, the rotational change is that our relative will be always opposite to the airfoil direction. So I hope you understood that, like our aircraft, if our aircraft is moving in the flight path, the opposite will be given with respect to V infinity. The same will be followed with respect to the airfoil direction. Okay. Right. So the next slide. Yes. So you need to understand that before entering into the derivational parts, you need to understand the tip rotational speed of the helicopter blade, right? It will be having the highest airspeed. So airspeed is given with respect to knots. Okay. So this is our blade span, right? So this is our span. So span is given, and in the tip, it is 387 knots. Throughout the along the span, it is starting to reduce. Okay. So the speed of rotational speed is reduced. Relative wind, horizontal component of relative wind will be reduced. Okay. So I hope you can understand, because when the rotor is rotating like this, right? So initially the tip is going to hit with the relative wind, then only the later part will be hitting. Okay. So the initial surface which is going to interact with the relative wind is our tip of the blade. So that's why the tip of the blade is hitting with the airspeed knots of 387, and throughout the span it is decreasing. Throughout the span it is decreasing. Okay. Since it is facing the wind at the first, this is the first section which is facing the relative wind. Okay. So the same will be applicable with the if I'm saying this is the front view, right, and this is the side view. So for a side view of rotor system, we have to understand how the flow distribution is there. Okay. So here the induced flow is given with respect to, suppose the helicopter is climbing, it is in the climb position. Okay. So in this image, the helicopter is in climb position. Okay, it is climbing. So what is happening? The airflow from the upper surface, it is getting sucked and it is blown towards the down surface. Okay. So that's why the direction of flow is given from upside to down, so that the helicopter will move upward. Okay. So as I told in the previous image, at the rotational speed, the tip is having higher airspeed knots, in knots they have given, so airspeed will be higher. So when we see from the side view and we study about the induced flow, so induced flow is if the helicopter is moving upward, right? So this entire is given with respect to the induced flow. Okay, because we are pressurizing the rotor and we are lifting up, so the flow is getting induced. Okay, the word induced is, it is getting applied on the rotors. Okay, so that's why they are calling it as induced flow. Okay, so the induced flow velocity, if you see the right side image, right? So right side image, we need to understand along the span length. Okay, so this is our total, this is our span, right, of one rotor, right? So throughout the span, how the induced flow is going to have its effect. So the previous image I have shown you with the relative wind. So relative wind is depending upon the airfoil direction, right? So the second one is induced flow. So we are having two types of flows. Okay. So one, when we are rising up, that is takeoff or climb. Okay, depending upon the scenario. So how the pressure distribution is there. So if you see the right side image, the tip is having more induced flow velocity. Throughout the span, the flow induced will be also decreasing. So same in the frontal position also. So the tip is having larger speed, and throughout the span towards the root, it will be decreasing. The induced flow will be decreasing. Okay. So another one thing is there, if you see the helicopter blade position, so it is not straight, right? So here it is mentioned in a straighter manner, but this type of making the helicopter like this, right? Pony. Can you look into the video? So previously the helicopter was like this. So while climbing, we have tilted like this. Previously it was like this. While climbing, we are tilting like this. Okay. So this is straight. The blade is kept straight. So during takeoff, it will be tilted. Okay. So this type of tilting is called as coning. Coning of helicopter blades. Coning. Okay. So CONING. So coning of helicopter will be done so that it will be very much helpful during the takeoff or climb. Okay. So I hope you understood that. And the rotational and relative wind, as I have told previously, we are having two types of flow. One is relative wind and another one is induced flow. Okay. So I hope we are having only 5 minutes. So with this, I am ending the session, today's session, but we will be discussing about this in next session by continuing. Okay. So once again, I would like to thank FAA. So I have taken the reference from Helicopter Flying Handbook, and yes, you can ask your question now.